Hi, and thanks so much for joining me for this Luxury Beauty Project Pan. If you're a regular viewer, thanks so much for joining me again. And if you are new to me from other channels, welcome. We're so happy to have you. This is in collaboration with several other YouTube channels. So today we are collaborating with Aniko. She's actually the one who invited me to participate with this big group of people. We've also got Jill Christ, we have Allison Chase, we have Angela Van Rose. But if you don't know anything about those channels yet, they focus on luxury beauty and they are all going to be doing this project pan as well. And what's great is they all have their areas of expertise. They have different skin types, different skin tones. So if you are interested in luxury beauty, please go see them, because between the many of us, you should probably see most of the products that are offered out there. Some focus more on reviews, while others focus more on tutorials. So their audiences like to see different things depending on who's presenting the information, which I think is also kind of fascinating. So they are great resources for luxury beauty and what really works. So it's one thing to see something in a print ad or an Instagram ad or something like that, but it's another thing to have people use these items in their daily lives and really find out how they perform. I think with luxury beauty, when it performs, it goes above and beyond and no one else can touch them. And also when there are some misses, they are really pretty big misses too. So I think especially since the price point is higher with luxury beauty, it's great to find out information before you invest. Make sure you go see all of their videos as well. They are also resources for me. I purchased many items based on their recommendations. Thank you again for inviting me to participate. And if you don't know what a project pan is, because honestly, I didn't know what a project pan was, and so I had to look it up, and Aniko gave me a few resources to look at. So what I found out though is that it is right up my alley, because if you've also known me, you know I don't like to waste anything, from food to clothing to cosmetics. So this kind of forces me to use items I wouldn't normally pull for. So these aren't necessarily top shelf items. I've already done a top shelf item, I was gonna say vitamin, item video. So go over and see that if you haven't. And there are also things that won't end up in an empties video because they're things that I wouldn't be using up anyway. So they're kind of the things that I purchased and wasn't really loving, or they're not the first or even second thing I'd pull for. So normally what would happen with these things that they would just kind of cycle up because they're expired, and then they would probably be in like a clear out video, which I think is a big waste because that means I didn't use it. So this will force me to use the products. So this is really helpful. Let's just start with some of the items and I'll talk about why I don't use them and what I'm hoping to get out of them. So starting with a primer, we've got the Air Flash Radiance Mist by Dior, and this was a recommendation by a couple of people I really trust on YouTube, and I know that they love it, but I have not fallen in love with this yet. So I have a few other sprays, but this is not the one I pull for because I don't really see a result. If anything, and I don't know if I'm applying it incorrectly. I know one of you said I put on too much. I think I used it in a video once. But when I put a really fine mist, I don't see anything. This is in the medium to dark. There are two, I was gonna say flavors. There are two shades to this, and this one has some color to it. So I did use it as a primer today. I don't necessarily finish off with it though. So I'm going to have to keep trying, and I was wondering if it was the climate at the time of the year. Now it's winter, so maybe it's a different kind of a thing in the winter. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is, because I was researching, I got a little scale and I'm going to weigh this on its initial weight, and then I'll record along the way how much I've used in say 2 months time and see where we are. Although this, I heard, doesn't last very long either, so this probably will be empty before I know it, but then I'll be able to actually give you some thoughts. And that's what's great, is that the items that I purchased that you don't really hear about, I'll actually be able to give you a lot of information because I will make sure these are empty. So from what I know is that once this is empty, then I get to use another primer and setting spray that I haven't been using. So the goal is to get through all of my makeup. That is the goal, so I really like that. Okay, this one is an expensive foundation that I kind of put off using because I didn't like it when I first used it. I thought it was because it was summer, and I just put it on today, and I think it looks really nice on camera, but I am still not sure about this one. It's the Clé de Peau Radiant Cream to Powder Foundation. It feels like nothing on the skin in terms of the weight, but then you can see it on the skin. So any texture you have, or any texture I have, I'm able to see it kind of get in those little crevices. So that's probably why I don't pull for this. It's in 040, like my Radiant Fluid Foundation, which I love. But this one, I'm not loving this, but I'm using it. I mean, you can see it's pretty good in terms of how much I've used. Yeah, it's got an interesting consistency. It feels very light going on. I feel like you don't need much to get pretty good coverage, but it doesn't really turn to a powder on me. I mean, it's still powdered, so hopefully, again, I will have more thoughts for you around this and why I don't pull for it as much, but I will be pulling for it. It was, I think, around $100, so I do want to make sure I use it all. So it also has SPF 24. Moving on to concealer, I'm kind of going in the order I would apply them. I've got the Magic Way Liquid Concealer in 7, and I've repurchased this before. This is like the second or third time I've repurchased. But what I was finding is it's pulling really warm, like a really yellow tone on it, and 6 is too light and 8 is too deep. 8 is more along the lines of the apricot-y shade I'm looking for concealer. But I've been dipping it in here, my Magic Vanish, I think that's what it's called, into medium. I take the concealer like this, and then I tap it in here, and then I will apply it that way. So I kind of get a 2-for-1 that way. And it's working really well, so it is making me use this. I think for this, I'll probably draw a line here so you can just see the progress as I move along. This is not in that list. I love this, but that's how I'm using it, to incorporate it in on top of my Clé de Peau. So that's what I have on now. I have Clé de Peau, that, and this on, and it covered really well. So one thing about having a beauty channel, even though I don't buy nearly as much as I think some people out there, you do get new products in and you fall in love with them. You kind of put the ones that are still good to the side and forget about them, and this is one of those. This is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Powder, and I was using it today and realized, oh, I really like this. I don't know if I love it under my eyes though. I'm still trying to decide. I feel like I can see it. It's much more visible, I think, than the Charlotte Tilbury that I use. The Airbrush Flawless Finish, I can't say that. The Airbrush Flawless Finish, that one in 2. And it is translucent on me. It doesn't impact color on my face. So you know that I love my ambient lighting powder and radiant light. You also know that I buy these palettes, but I don't really use them up. So I decided to throw this in there because this is one of the things that I feel like repeat offender on actually using the products are in these palettes. So I am pulling out this Ghost palette so I can use it. I want to use as much as I can, but still retain some of the color because I want to use it for like archival purposes, but I do want to use most of the product up. So I use these two to finish off today. So a little bit of this under my eye, and then this actually all over my face. I used the bronzer today, and then also both blushes. Oh, and also the highlighter. It's really kind of subtle, but I use the highlighter as well. So trying to get through this. So that covers a lot of bases in terms of finishing powder, bronzer, blush, and highlight. I know a lot of people love this, and I can see why. It's a very fine kind of texture in terms of the shimmer. I love the Unlocked one. I think those colors are better for me, but the shimmer is a little bit different. This one's very fine, so yeah, I can see why people love this, so I'm going to make a point to use this one. So the Tweed palette in Victoria Beckham made it into my 2019 favorites because of the shade Caramel, but I also have the Signature palette, which I had not been pulling for because I had the Tweed one and I love Caramel so much in there. But I use this today. It's a really pretty neutral palette. So if you are in a conservative office type of setting, I think this is great. I think it works on most skin tones. I'm very warm, but it still looks really nice on me, and I can see how someone with cool skin tone would look really pretty with this as well. These are great transition colors, especially this one because it's got some peach in there. So I use that up above as well. And then this comes across as more of a mushroomy color, and I use that in the crease. So I'm enjoying using this, and I'm glad I took it out because it's a really nice palette. I'd rather use the Caramel shade in there, but it's very beautiful. For eyeliners, I've had this for a while. It's the It Cosmetics No Tug, and I used it because I couldn't get my hands on the Marc Jacobs, the blacker one that I always use. So I've been using this to put in the tight line here, and it works really well. I just don't know if I need to repurchase it next time, but I do want to use it up. It's very nice. It doesn't tug. And then I picked up this Nars, I picked up like 3 of these Nars eyeliners, and I have the other 2. I think I have it in Mulholland Drive and a Mambo, really nice. But this one is in Last Frontier, and the reason I want to use this up is because I got the Charlotte Tilbury in Barbarella Brown, and that was the initial one that I wanted to pick up, but they didn't have it, so I picked this up. But now that I have that, I just want to use this up. This does not perform very well in the waterline. I have it in there right now, but in a few hours it will not be there anymore. It'll be like broken up. It won't look as nice, but it does work really well along the lash line, so I use that underneath as well. Nice eyeliner, just maybe not my favorite, but it's very good. Oh, I forgot to mention this powder by Laura Mercier. It's just, okay, so I've got a couple here that are extra steps. So this is kind of an extra step. It's the Secret Blurring Powder for Under Eyes in 2 by Laura Mercier. I typically use the Charlotte Tilbury powder just to set underneath, which is fine. It works really well. So I don't feel a need for this, but it is really nice. So I feel like I need to use it up. So that was on my list. Speaking of things that are kind of extra steps or extra time, this Givenchy mascara, it is so beautiful. Like, I have it on, I used all of this makeup today, by the way. Let me know if you want to see a tutorial on it, kind of how it comes together, because I feel like the foundation actually looks really nice, even though I don't really like the way it performs, but I think it looks good on camera. This looks really beautiful once you get it on. So it's the mascara by Givenchy. It's the one with the ball on the end, and simply because it's so small, it takes longer to apply, but you get really fanned out lashes. So instead of lashes like, you know, that are stuck together, you get them like this. So if that's what you like, then I would try this. Just know it's going to take time. I mean, I think I put a few coats on and I just sat there for probably 10 minutes applying it. But it does get every lash and it separates them. So if you have trouble in the corners here, this is a really great one, maybe even just for the corners, but it is definitely a time taker. Time taker? It takes time to apply this, but the result is beautiful. So these are kind of the 2 where I get a really nice result, but it just takes time, and that's why I don't use them. I also apply this because I don't really wear glittery kinds of eyeshadows, but this is really pretty, and I know they came up with other shades, and I wanted to pick them up, but I figured I don't really use this one anyway, so why would I get those? This is the Hourglass Scattered Light in the shade Blaze, and this one was sold out for a little while on a couple sites where I saw it. Yeah, I have it on now. So if you like that kind of glittery, shimmery kind of thing, then you would like these. It's not my thing, but I need to force myself to use it, or else it will end up in a clear out and have really never been used. So that is in here as well. Then I've got a few more lip things. We've got these, and it's not because I don't like them, and it's not because they don't perform. This is another, this takes time to apply kind of item, which is why I don't grab for it. It's the Clé de Peau Radiant Liquid Rouge Matte in Midnight Magic. And then I also have the Radiant Liquid Rouge Shine in Sepia, or Sepia, I never know how to say that, but I have them on right now. And I love the way they look. So recently I went to dinner and I wore this one, and when you eat dinner, of course, you're using a napkin and your napkin, and you know, wiping the lip stuff off, and there was still some color left on there. It didn't look anything like this, but there was still some color on there. So that was nice. I know it's supposed to have something like an 8-hour life on it. It doesn't have that for me, but it did maintain some color. And then this on top is really pretty. So yeah, I would love to use these because they are so beautiful. They just are time consuming to apply, especially this darker one. Any dark lipsticks or bright lipsticks are difficult for me to apply because the line is not really defined around my lips very well, so it takes a little extra time to do that, but those are really pretty. And then we also have this, which I thought I would use the most out of all the Hourglass lip glosses that I got. These are the Unreal, and this is in Halo. I used Ignite all the way up, but this one is just something I need to remember to take out to use on top of my lipstick, so that is in there as well. Really beautiful. It's like a lip plumping kind of thing, but it doesn't have a sting to it. There's a slight peppermint, let me see. Yeah, there's a slight mintiness to it. Another thing is that if you use it on top of a color, it will transfer into the tube. So it's already getting a little bit discolored from other lipsticks I put this on top of. And I think that is it. Yeah, that's it. So I have my scale. I'm going to take some baseline measurements with this and take some photos of it, so when I do a check-in in a couple of months, I think that's what it's supposed to be, or like, I guess when I feel like I'm making a dent, I'll do a check-in and let you know how it's going and give you my full reviews on these items. And I think it's a really cool idea. It's right up my alley because I want to use the things that I've already purchased. I feel like it's a waste if I don't. And I'm excited to see what the other people in this collaboration are doing, what they've picked, because I think we'll get a lot of great information, a lot of great reviews from them using them so frequently and using them up. And then it also will give us a little peek into their collections of things we don't normally see, because I feel like I've probably shown these maybe once and then that was it. So it's kind of revisiting those things, and I really want to know what is the best investment out there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing their videos. So I will link everything below, of course. And please join us in this project pan if you are interested in doing it. I'd love to see a list of things you're going through and just kind of hear your thoughts along the way. I think it's a good way for us to all make sure we are using what we've purchased, even if they are not our favorites. You might actually fall in love with something that you didn't know or realize you loved. Like, just doing this today made me think about how there's so many other products I probably have that I might be missing out on because I'm not pulling for them as the first choice. So let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.